So, today we're talking about this, and we're talking about this whole thing, and is it proof that the WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark? And I don't mean hate Caitlin Clark. Like, I'm gonna come, well, to be fair, I don't mean hate Caitlin Clark, just hate Caitlin Clark person. I don't think any of them do. I don't think that's a thing. But just hate the entire idea. So, we're talking about All-Star voting here, where the players voted Caitlin Clark as the 9th best player at her position in the WNBA. So,
does this prove WNBA players secretly meet in candlelit circles to plot Caitlin Clark's downfall? Maybe, because the way they treat her, you'd think she stole everyone's lunch money and their endorsement deals. Grab your popcorn. This isn't just basketball, it's a full-blown soap opera with sneakers.
In your guys' opinion, do you feel like Caitlin Clark gets kind of targeted at some of these games, or it's just basketball?
Yeah, she get targeted just like Jordan got targeted.
It's a privilege. You're the best player.
The Jordan rules. They have the Jordan rules. When you're so good, yeah, you're gonna get targeted. It just is what it is.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, man. You gotta, like, when you at a disadvantage, like, I feel like, just like boxing or something. If you fighting against the best, you got to do something and junk it up.
Of course they hate her. That's not even up for debate anymore. It's just baked into the WNBA's user manual at this point. Somewhere in the fine print between don't wear the wrong socks and pretend to respect referees.
Sophie Cunningham said nobody likes us about the Indiana Fever, and the player voting returns for the WNBA All-Star Game don't exactly dispel that notion, because Caitlin Clark received the most votes overall, like captain on the team alongside Napheesa Collier. Another starter, Aaliyah Boston, was right behind them in votes, yet both Clark and AB were ranked 9th by the players in guards and front court respectively.
It's the fan vote, right? This is supposed to be the most popular players, right? Oh man, let's see who got fans, y'all. Let's see who can get some fans to vote. The 2025 WNBA All-Star starters. We got Aaliyah Boston, the meme machine from the Indiana Fever. We got Paige Beckers, the great rookie out of Dallas, having an awesome rookie season. We got the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, the one and only, not the icing on the cake, the whole cake, not the needle mover, the needle, the one and only GOAT, CC22, Caitlin Clark.
Let's keep it real for a second. These other players know exactly what time it is. They know without Clark, they're basically fighting over who gets 17 people in the stands and half a Gatorade bottle for post-game press. This is the first time the WNBA has cracked the national conversation without needing a halftime dog show or Beyonce doing a TikTok cameo.
The starters have been revealed today. You got Aaliyah Boston, shout out to AB, Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Napheesa Collier, Alicia Gray, Sabrina Ionescu, Aneka Ogwumike, Satu, Sabali, Sabali, Brianna Stewart, and Asia Wilson will be your 10 starters that Clark and Napheesa Collier get to choose from. And what everybody is talking about are the player rankings when it comes to the All-Star ballot. They put that, as you guys know by now, WNBA All-Star captains have been announced. Team Collier versus Team Clark, the top two vote getters when it comes to fan voting. Caitlin Clark, over 1.2 million fan votes. Napheesa Collier not too far behind with 1.1 million fan votes. Aaliyah Boston was close, less than 2,000 votes away from a Team Clark versus Team Boston All-Star game experience. That would have been quite the entertainment, but instead we get Team Clark versus Team Napheesa Collier, and something that I think is getting overlooked is who's going to be coaching Caitlin Clark come the All-Star game, the head coaches.
And they hate that it's all because of this fresh-faced shooter from Iowa who dared to bring eyeballs, advertisers, and ticket sales. They're not mad because Caitlin's overrated. They're mad because they need her, and that burns. Deep down in their core, it eats at them. You can see it in the interviews where everyone suddenly gets real philosophical when her name comes up, like they're defending a dissertation on how to ignore popularity while standing in its shadow.
Looking at the percentages here, let's compare Jackie Young to Natasha Cloud. Even with Caitlin Clark on her, like, it'd be 56th in points per game. Caitlin Clark has more points this season than Jackie Young. Say not Jackie Young, but Natasha Cloud. Caitlin Clark has more points this season than Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud, I'm not joking when I say this, has played, am I right in saying she's played 8 more games than Caitlin Clark? I think she's played 8 more games than Caitlin Clark. Like, she has less points in 8 more games. She is third in assists, in fairness. Alyssa Thomas is probably going to average above 10 assists per game. Fair enough.
And the irony? Even Fever fans turned into part-time anti-Clark agents. You've got diehard Indiana stans pulling the actually Collier deserves it more card, like they're trying to prove they're immune to hype. It's like watching someone throw their own golden ticket in the trash just to prove they're not a fan of chocolate. Meanwhile, the rest of the league is clapping like trained seals every time Clark gets snubbed, as if watching the league's only spotlight dim somehow makes them shine brighter. Let's not even pretend the WNBA would have put her in the All-Star lineup without fans hitting that vote button like it was a broken elevator. No way. The league had her penciled in for the "You're doing amazing, sweetie" participation tier.
Supporters, well, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. And the WNBA All-Star voting, we now know who the 10 starters are going to be. And we also got a peel back the curtain reveal on what the other players in the league think of Caitlin Clark. This All-Star voting told us something, and it confirms exactly what we think. The other players in the league can't stand Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's baffling. I've seen some people trying to claim she shouldn't be in the game. She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out loud.
If fans weren't crashing the servers to vote her in, she'd be somewhere between the alternate list and unpaid intern. Just like Team USA, Kylie invited her to not join them in Paris. That wasn't a selection, it was an intervention. They basically said, take a vacation, kid. Let the mediocrity marinate. But don't worry, Angel Reese got ranked 12th by the players and Kiki Rice somehow leapfrogged her, which is adorable if we're being generous and delusional if we're being honest. Let's just say if petty was a sport, the WNBA would finally be filling arenas. You've got Reese getting boxed out of All-Star priority by players who needed MapQuest to find their own highlight reels. Not saying Kiki didn't deserve something, but this ain't a charity raffle. It's supposed to be a competition. And clearly, we're grading on the who can ignore the obvious star most scale.
She's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, she's in a 3-game shooting downturn. All right? A 3-game shooting slump. And other than that, in the injuries, it's been business as usual for most games. And she had a triple-double this year. So let's take a look at this because we learned a lot here. And it, to me, shows that when it comes to Caitlin Clark, these players are not getting any better. I think they're locked in. They're bound and determined to hate on the Indiana Fever guard.
How do you feel about the WNBA players bashing Caitlin Clark?
Okay, so I'm going to state some facts here and not opinions because this is a controversial topic for some crazy reason. The WNBA is a subsidized league. What it means subsidized means is that the NBA basically gives their money so the WNBA could exist because the WNBA does not produce any revenue.
They lose money, actually.
They lose money. Okay, so Caitlin Clark, a generational women's basketball player, finally comes around where people are like, oh my God, this girl is amazing. She gets drafted. She's putting up crazy numbers. She's entertaining. Ticket sales go up. Revenue goes up. She brings all this money to the league. Also, she turned down a contract in the Big Three making millions of dollars to go make $75,000 a year in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Okay? Now you go on ESPN and all these things, and all these her peers in the WNBA are trashing her and demeaning her.
Now, Reese isn't everyone's cup of Gatorade, but even the haters have to admit she's a big name. Not as big as Clark, obviously, but big enough to notice when she's being subtly side-eyed by players who couldn't draw 5 fans with free t-shirts and a bouncy castle. It's like the WNBA turned into a high school talent show, where instead of talent, everyone's just aggressively pretending not to care that the new girl is winning all the votes. And here's the absolute kicker. Clark is the only star, the one, the singular gravitational force dragging this league into national relevance like it's a sack of potatoes tied to a Ferrari. She's the buzz, the metrics, the viral moment, the controversial foul, the three-point dagger, and the ticket sales all rolled into one. And still, they act like she's some random rookie who stumbled into the wrong gym.
When we talk about hatred, when we talk about jealousy, when we talk about pettiness, Caitlin Clark's name always pops up because that's what she receives on a daily basis. And for the players to vote her 9th in guards just lets you know how out of touch they are. And it's not because of her game. It's simply because of those 3 things that I mentioned. She was ranked 1st by the fans, which makes sense. She was ranked number 3 by the media, which kind of makes sense. Anywhere between the 1, 2, or 3rd, that's fine. And then she was ranked 9th by the players. And it's just so funny. 9th rated player for a guard, but 1st in schemes, 1st in being face guard, 1st in being guarded 90 feet, 1st in blitzes, the most schemed basketball player in the WNBA. But somehow she is ranked number 9 for best guards in the WNBA. It's laughable. She's the most schemed basketball player in the WNBA, even more schemed than the 2 or 3 best basketball players in the WNBA in Nafessa Collar, Aja Wilson, and also Breanna Stewart. Caitlin Clark sees more schemes defensively than those 3 players who are better basketball players than Caitlin Clark. But somehow she's ranked 9th by her peers. Yeah, you just can't take the players seriously. And that just goes to show you that just because players play at a high level, or they play in the WNBA, or they play even in the NBA, that doesn't mean that just because they play at the highest level, that always guarantees that they know what they're talking about. Because a lot of times they don't. And just like people were saying that Tyrese Halliburton was the most overrated player in the NBA, the players voted him that. And we saw what Tyrese Halliburton did in this playoffs.
They can't say she's good because that would mean admitting they've needed her all along, that she saved the product, that the league would still be doing buy 1, get 5 free ticket specials without her, that people actually care now, not because of some multi-year marketing strategy, but because one player made women's basketball must-watch TV. But instead of celebrating her, we get this weird Olympic-level mental gymnastics routine. The league's like, let's grow the game while simultaneously hiding its only actual grower behind a curtain of jealous elbows and backhanded praise. They want her impact without her spotlight, her fan base without her influence, her popularity without her presence.
WNBA All-Star starters have been announced, y'all. They've been announced. Y'all want to guess who not starting? Hey, listen. Some people don't belong in certain conversations. Do y'all want to guess who's not an all-star starter, y'all? I think it's a snub that should have been a starter. I got a couple people that I think should have been starting, but we will get to that.
So yes, they hate her because she's the mirror they've been avoiding for years, the one that shows them what actual stardom looks like, the one that reminds them the game can be exciting, relevant, and yes, profitable, but only if they stop acting like popularity is contagious and start acting like it's the future. Until then, we'll keep watching this absurd soap opera unfold, with Clark playing the villain in a league that finally found its hero but forgot how to cure.